Mansfields Melbourne is brought to you by Hudson Bond Real Estate. Building for your future and assuring you of personal attention at all times. Hello again and welcome to Mansfields Melbourne. Every night on Optus at 6 o'clock we bring you the latest of what's happening in Melbourne. We meet interesting people and find out what's happening in and around our city. Tonight we meet a wonderful Melbourne radio identity of the 50s, 60s and 70s, the dear friend Ron Cadee. We talk about Easter eggs with a difference, that's not with Ron. We find out about the Pro-Am Golf Challenge out at Rosanna and talk to Tamara Milstein of Tamara's Kitchen. But first, let's have a look at what's making news on Monday, March the 17th. Darebin Council will construct a new building at the Preston Town Hall in a surprise move to tackle cramped conditions at the site. The council this month approved a $7 million project which includes a new building alongside the City Hall and allows most staff to stay at Preston. Up to 30 staff will be transferred to Northcote. Ringwood Plaza Shopping Centre is not for sale, according to John Cook of the Maroondah Post newspaper. Maroondah Council says it has no plans to sell off the troubled retail development, despite a $2 million claim by an aggrieved former tenant. And two of the Bayside's senior schools have taken action against students for drug-related offences. Two boys from a third school have been withdrawn by their parents following a similar drug involvement, reports the Sandringham Brighton Advertiser newspaper. The newspaper says the enrolment of 12 boarders was terminated at a leading girls' school after letters referring to drugs were found in the boarding house. And at Thomastown, MP Andrew Hiermeyer has called for the introduction of a scheme to give heroin to registered addicts. That's the news to this moment here on Mansfields Melbourne. On Mansfields Melbourne, we meet up with people who are or have been part of our lives. And radio and television play a very important part in our lives, as does the personalities that are part of our family and are certainly a part of my family over many years. Ron Cadee is with us on Mansfields Melbourne.
Hello.
Ron, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm fine.
You're looking marvellous.
And you're looking good too.
Ron, you are my idol. When I was going to school, you were the one person doing breakfast on 3KZ, and I listened to that and I thought I'd love to do what that man is doing. You were my idol in those days.
Well, we worked together anyway, didn't we?
We did at KZ.
You were there, and I mustn't stop doing... I play with the microphone.
Don't do that, I'll rush out and replace it.
Yes, and we worked together at KZ, so
Yes.
That's a few years ago
I
now.
did turntables for you at KZ. I was your panel operator on some breakfasts, and you'd come in with your pyjamas on. It was so early.
Well, I often hear you with Philip talking about those days of drawing tats.
Oh, tats.
When it was Tattersalls.
That's right.
And they'd have me doing the reading in the morning to say, right, it's 9:30, we're crossing over. You know, I'd never forget the voice. And I would go down there in pyjamas and an overcoat and draw out all the balls. It was hilarious. And the head of Tats says, oh, you slept in this morning? I said, yeah, every morning. It was the same. Brekkies were, oh, well, you've done them, you know.
Oh, I know what it's like. You never get used to getting up, do you, to do that breakfast show?
Well, I was never in a compass state of mind to sort of get up. I never knew where I was. The taxi driver would come in and he'd say, you're on, you've got to do it. You're on. And I'd be dressed as different various things. One night there was the ball down at the Palais de Dance, and I went as a nun. And of course, when the taxi driver pushed the door open, I always lived free, and he looked in and saw this nun lying in bed. And that was it.
Oh, nothing new for you, Ron.
No, not really. I've always been holy.
Then you did the VEB corner quiz, which Ron went out to various corners in Melbourne and grabbed women and asked them questions for some VEB eggs.
Yes.
And invariably you'd end up doing it in traffic or in the sales department.
Well, see, as I said, you know, you'd be half asleep, and 9 o'clock when you finished the breakfast show, the last thing you just wanted to get home to bed. So we'd sort of go out and ham it up out into the general offices of the Trades Hall Council and pretend we were on the corner and play traffic noises, you know. So you'd be talking to J.B. Stout, Mick Jordan, occasionally Arthur Caldwell. You'd pop him a question and you hear motorbikes going past and say, you've won some eggs, Arthur, and we'd be fine.
And I remember, Ron, on a Sunday afternoon, and a lot of young people wouldn't realise, but the community singing was a terribly important part. And Ron did, it was Sunday afternoon, wasn't it?
Fluffy Freeman used to do that.
Yes.
Alan Freeman. And it's amazing, I hear AW quite a bit, and I hear his voice coming on with the Beatles. Alan Freeman, of course, was still doing well in London, and he announces Paul or Ringo, one of them, and it's, the same voice as you.
Yes.
You were very good at it. You
That's
were
right.
always good at it. And in fact, you did the whole KZ entourage. You did the whole lot of their voices.
I did too, Ron and Norman Swain.
I was thinking about this when I was coming here, and I remembered Ivor Hancock.
Yes.
Remember him?
Yes, I do.
Philip Gibbs.
Yes.
All of them.
That's
and
right.
Norman Swain, our
Jim
love.
Archer, who passed away in the ladies' lavatory at KZ. Do you remember that?
Oh,
During...
what was he doing in
I don't know what he was doing, but he called in there to have a shower, I think.
I was trying to make light of that. I can remember Stan the man, Stan Rope, and he came up to Brisbane where I was working, and he said, "Do you know Jim Archer died before the mic?" And I said, "What time did the mic go?" And I just tried to make light of it because Jimmy Archer we knew and loved, and you couldn't believe it, as you can't believe with a lot of things.
No.
You know, people have gone away and off the planet, and you say, what happened?
Ron, do you ever see Ray King, your turntable operator?
They had, well, Eddie Balmer, you had him on the radio with you, and dear Eddie, I'll never forget the pipe and Eddie Balmer.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
period.
Well, you can do him as well.
That's
You did
right.
you're smart.
So-
and you can do all these things. Brilliant. And Eddie Balmer and Ray King were at the 3KZ party, which was about 2 years ago now, at the pub opposite the Trades Hall.
The Albion. Was it at the Albion or the Dover?
It used to be the Lycan.
The Lycan,
Now the
yes.
John Curtin Hotel.
That's right. Ron, what are you doing these days?
Well, I'm playing piano. It's St. Patrick's Day weekend, isn't it? That's St. Patrick's.
It's St. Patrick's Day today.
Is it St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
Well, I was going to think, I said, yeah, we're going to St. Patrick's Day. We'll do our McNamara's band. Oh, my name is McNamara. I'm the leader of the band. Although we're few in numbers, we're the finest in the land. Oh, we play at wakes and weddings, and we play at fancy balls.
And when we play at funerals,
we play the march from... So I have a keyboard, and I go out and I do weddings. I did a golden anniversary in West Meadows a couple of months ago and played the piano and the music and the keyboard, and people were dancing around doing the birdie dance, rock and roll. I'm playing at the piano on Sunday nights at the Three Faces restaurant.
Right.
And
Where's that, Ron?
In Paran.
In Paran, right.
Yeah.
You're with John Foreman from Channel 10?
Johnny's there, yes.
Right.
He does his Thursday nights. And Sally Boyden from Young Talent.
Good.
And we're going to talk about the Mrs. McGillicuddy's washing in the backyard at 3KZ.
Yes. Remember 3KZ had windows that you looked out onto the Trades Hall.
Yes.
And Norman Swain had characters like the cat, the studio cat.
He had Reggie Rat.
Reggie Rat.
Merker Mouse.
Yes, that's it.
And I used to get so jealous because he was so clever that I had to do Freddie Uppleding.
Freddie Uppleding,
Talk about like Freddie Uppleding. And I was just reminiscing there with Norman when he'd look out the window and he'd say, Mrs. McGillicuddy has her bloomers
That's right.
hanging over the line.
Yeah.
Love you, Norm. And when you look out the window, and of course it'd be Mick Jordan's underpants or something hanging out to dry.
Mick Jordan, just by the way, was about 18 stone.
Yes, and he played the violin. He was learning the violin. We'd have the early morning breakfast session. This made it even more of a riot in those days. Complete riot, because I'd be doing Hello 3KZ in Melbourne, and we're broadcasting on a frequency of 117, and you'd hear... It was all so friendly.
Isn't that wonderful? We had the record library behind us in the studio.
Yes, and you could go in with your bag and take as many as you liked.
We're talking about records now. And, Ron had a bugle. He had a 7 o'clock wake-up call.
Yes.
A bugle. That's right.
F-O-R-D.
Ford pills.
And we used to have Freddie Uppleding would come in with his trumpet and blow it.
A well-known identity that worked with you, Barry Ian.
Well, Barry Ian was Peter Plus.
That's
During,
right.
see, everyone had to do the voices. The money was so bad, I don't even know why we doubled up.
Dreadful money.
It was terrible, wasn't it?
Yes,
Terrible. And Barry was doing Peter Plus, and when he went to Adelaide and became the star, which he still is.
He still is, yes.
With Pilco, they're doing their double in
What
Adelaide.
are they called? Pilco and Bazza.
Bazza and Pilco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was playing for Footscray at that time, so there was a whole lot of excitement happening around the entire station.
Yeah.
But it was so different. I think we became more sophisticated. Is that what happened to radio?
I think it did. I think we did. KZ was the one station we all love, and I include Bert Newton and Philip and people like that who love the local identity that KZ
Well, I mean,
was.
Newton was brilliant then, but he's progressed so much more now. I just say, I ring up his producer, Doug Ackerley, and I say he's brilliant. Same as I rang the other night for you, because you knocked me right out. I hope the people are loving all this chit-chat.
Oh, they are.
It's been such a long time since I've seen him. And you were asked by Philip if you were going to be hung by the neck until you were dead, and you were standing on the gallows, what would your thoughts be? And immediately you said, I'll be back after this break. Do you remember that? That's when I rang up the producer, Simon, and I said...
Well, he never passed that on, this one.
I said, would you tell them they're greater than ever? I think they're brilliant.
You're lovely, and so are you.
They're marvellous.
Continue good health, success forever.
It's been a good shot, doing it in the pockets, and I'm happy to be part of you.
Good on you, Ron. Lovely.
And all the best with this. I think it's a fabulous idea.
To have you with us. A dear friend on Mansfields Melbourne tonight, the pleasure of meeting up with Ron Cadee. We'll be back in a moment. Well, I suppose we all love food, don't we? But we have a certain admiration for people who have special culinary abilities, and one such certified culinary professional is Tamara Milstein of Tamara's Kitchen. Welcome to Mansfields Melbourne, Tamara.
Thank you, Bruce.
You look lovely in your orange. Well, now tell us, you're more than a chef and a culinary expert, aren't you?
Well, I have a very wide range of food interests at the moment. I've been teaching for about 8 years. I have my own cooking school, and released recently my second cookbook, Risotto Around the World, which is a great labour of love that has finally come to fruition.
Right.
As well as, working on radio and producing a video. So I have a finger in lots of different pots.
Risotto Around the World. Now, that's not just saying that it's in Italy. You're looking at...
around the world.
All over.
What I decided to do after a great love of cooking risotto in different ways was to take the flavours of many different sorts of risotto, and from the flavours from all over the world. So there are risotto with Asian flavours, with flavours of Mexico, of the Caribbean, and of course Australian bush tucker.
Right. Oh, it even gets to Australia.
Oh, absolutely. That's where it starts for me.
That's rather lovely, looking at this book on an angle like this.
And of course there's a chapter there on Italian and Mediterranean flavours, and we're very proud of it.
So you should be too, and rice too. Now, also with your, do you teach at your home? You originally did, didn't you?
I did, that's right. I originally taught from home for 5 years, and it just got too big. I've got 5 very young children,
yes,
and it all became too much, and so we built a purpose-built cooking school in Taronga Road in East Hawthorn, and we've been teaching there now. This is our 3rd year, and we teach...
So you have classes of no more than 12
that's
students?
Right, that's right.
So it's more of an individual approach?
Very intensive and very relaxed and intimate, and we teach both at 10 a.m. in the morning and in the evening. So.
Tamara, you're very proud also of your Jewish heritage.
That's
and
right.
Many classes are geared to that cooking.
That's right, and at certain times of the year we gear the classes towards, for example, Passover, which is coming up fairly soon. But
right.
It's a very strong personal interest of mine.
Right, so if you've got teenage, I suppose teenage girls I was going to say, but it's everybody loves cooking, don't they?
They do. Actually, my children are nowhere near the teens yet. Mine are all 9 and under. And even my 5-year-old, who is a boy, is very interested in food and food preparation, and that's really where our kids' cooking classes came from.
Right. Now, you also got, it looks like a double video there, Tamara.
It's actually a single video, Bruce, because in the top part of the cover we've got a full set of laminated recipe cards.
Right.
And that enables the cook to... It's nice and firmly closed.
Right. Oh,
that enables, so that enables the cook to watch the video, relaxing, and then take the cards into the kitchen and cook from the cards.
What a great idea.
Yes.
That's a first, isn't it? Or maybe
it's a first in Australia with the recipe cards, but what we found is that so many people really want to see their recipes cooked. They don't just want a book, they want to actually see it, and this gives us that.
Look, I would suggest that you make a note of Tamara's number, whether you want to take up one of the classes, whether you're interested in getting your children involved, or just to get the video or the book. Tamara's Kitchen is at 490 Taronga Road, East Hawthorn. Tamara's number is 9882 4906, and you'll find that she has a wide range, up to the minute, of prepared food, Jewish cooking classes, the books, the videos, anything to do with cooking, right?
That's right.
But an emphasis on pasta.
Emphasis on all things Italian. And pasta and risotto is a very great love. Yeah.
Well, it's lovely being in Tamara's Kitchen today, part of Mansfields Melbourne.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tamara, very much. We'll take a break and be back on Mansfields Melbourne. Well, Easter's not far away, just under 2 weeks, in fact, from tonight. And we hear plenty about Easter and Easter bunnies, but one man who's taking a longer look, an Australian outlook, should we say, produces Australian bilby chocolates. And it's John Shellard, the General Manager of Pink Lady Chocolates. Hello, John. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, tell us about the bilby. That was the big thing, wasn't it, a couple of years ago?
Well, it started in 1994, or 93, I should say. We started producing them in 94, but I believe we were the first to actually commercialise them in terms of going through the supermarkets and into the chain stores or department stores.
Now, that's a bilby we're looking at there, isn't it?
That's a bilby, yes. That's one form.
Now, has that taken off as opposed to the bunny?
Well, certainly they've had a major inroad into the market, but there's still a long way to go. But the interest is growing all the time. It hasn't sort of waned.
What was a bilby?
Well, bilby is an Australian native marsupial, which is a threatened species. It's otherwise known as a rabbit-eared bandicoot.
Right.
It's a little larger than a rabbit. It has long rabbit-like ears. It has a long tail. It's blue-grey in colour. It has a black tail with a white feather tip on the tail. Its legs are a little like wallabies or kangaroos. In that it has large rear legs and small front legs, which it uses for digging. Oh. And it lives in a burrow.
Sounds like our producer Ash Long. But have a look. We'll pan along this if we could and just see some of the products of Pink Lady. You were in fact a former chief judge at the Royal Melbourne Show of chocolates and all things chocolate, so you've got a pretty good idea of it.
Well, yeah, I was the initial chief judge when the chocolate section was introduced at the Melbourne Show, and last year was my final year. I decided that after 4 years it was time to get out.
John, let's talk about Pink Lady Chocolates. It was established in the 30s.
Yes, in Melbourne.
And it was known as Pink Lady then?
That's correct, yes.
We've had a pretty, and I won't mention names, we've had a pretty good record of producing chocolate in Melbourne over the years, haven't we?
Well, Melbourne's got a much better climate than a lot of the rest of Australia for producing chocolate.
And that would be the case, would it?
That is a part of it,
right.
Yes.
What about cholesterol and fat and dairy products? Do you use any of that in your chocolate?
Well, there's dairy products, but the research has found that in chocolate, the other ingredients that are present virtually destroy the effect of the cholesterol that's in the milk products.
Yes, right.
So that actually chocolate has, in some American research, been shown to have a beneficial effect on cholesterol levels.
Well, it's terrific that your chocolates have got a distinctive Australian feel, and there's also, well, wombats and koala bears that are part of the Pink Lady range too. So it's not just your Easter bunny. There's bilbies and koala bears and wombats. And John Shellard, we thank you for coming in. You're at Pink Lady Chocolates, 13 Hume Street in Huntingdale, on the phone at 9545 6600. Thank you and a very happy Easter, John.
Thank you very much, Bruce, and to you too.
Good on you. Thanks. That's John Shellard from Pink Lady Chocolates. This is Mansfields Melbourne. Back after this. The man from Pink Lady Chocolates has forgotten his bilbies. So, you want one, Ash? Good. It's Easter, you see. Another one for you. Don't give any to the control room. Right? Quick. Good. Clown of a girl. First broken bilby I've seen. Now look. Melbourne in March sees a great number of sporting and social features. One of them is the Nissan Australia Pro-Am Golf, and this is going to be held at the Rosanna Golf Club on Tuesday next week, March 25. With me is Peter Butler. Welcome to Mansfields Melbourne, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Well, now tell us about the Nissan Australia Pro-Am Golf, please.
Well, it is an opportunity for our members and members of the public to play golf with professional golfers.
Right.
It's one of those few sports where you have that opportunity, and they get to see how it should be done.
Yes.
Perhaps learn a few lessons. Generally the pros are very good at providing a few tips, and it provides an opportunity for income for professionals as part of the CUB Pro-Am circuit. So they play obviously for money.
So let's call it the amateurs,
yes,
the people who come along
absolutely,
to be taught or to get the tips. Do they pay a fee for that?
They pay in the morning. There is a morning and an afternoon event. Morning it's $40, and that they get to play a round of golf, 3-course meal plus drinks and just the whole
How much
atmosphere
does
of the
that
day.
again?
$40.
Well, that's reasonable, isn't
It's
it?
very reasonable. And in the afternoon, it's $55 because there's an evening meal and the presentations
Right.
go on after that, which tend to take a few more hours.
Sure, and it's the one day, isn't it, March 25?
Yes, one day.
Who are some of the big names you'll be having?
We've got Mike Harwood, Michael Clayton,
Big names,
Paul
yeah.
Maloney, David Diaz, who
Right.
won last year with
Very
a course
good.
record of 65, Lucian Tinkner,
Yeah.
David Iwaki-Smith.
Very good.
There are a lot of names that people will be very aware of.
Now, Peter, do you find that generally the amateurs come up to you at the end of the day and say, gee, have I learnt a few things, or is it pretty...
I think that they're a bit surprised that actually pros make a few mistakes.
Yeah.
They play very, very good golf, but occasionally they try to do something that they don't quite come off, and
Right.
we amateurs quite like to see that on occasions.
Yes.
But certainly they do enjoy the tips they get.
I'm out that way, and the Rosanna Golf Club has got a pretty good record in that
Yes.
out that part
It
of
has.
Melbourne.
Yes, yes. We've been in Lower Plenty there for 35 years.
Right.
The club's about 70 years old, moved from the Rosanna Station area.
Yes.
A good, strong club. This Pro-Am's been running for in excess of 20 years.
Now, you've got a shotgun start at 7:45.
Yes, that's for the AM field, and that's concluded, lunch to follow, and then the afternoon field starts at 12:45. So we break them up into morning and afternoon purely because of numbers.
Yeah.
We do have some positions available for amateurs should people wish to ring the club.
Yes. We'll give you the phone number in a
Yes,
moment.
most certainly.
Have you got any bad, rough areas?
Only where I tend to go.
Yeah.
Where like most courses, if you hit them straight, you'll be okay.
Now, listen, what about, apart from the Pro-Am, if anyone is interested, can they get a few lessons from the club
Certainly
at
can.
any time?
Yes, our professional Gareth Small is certainly more able to do that. Full pro shop full of equipment.
Right.
Very good teacher.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, we'll give you the address. Cleveland Avenue, Lower Plenty. That's the Nissan Australia Pro-Am Golf. Well, that's the club showroom. But don't forget, the Pro-Am Golf is on March 25. Learn how to play perhaps better golf and have a good day at the Rosanna Golf Club, Cleveland Avenue, Lower Plenty. The phone number is 9431 1033. Thank you very much. Before you go.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bilby from the Pink Lady.
My daughters will love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back in a moment on Mansfields Melbourne.
This is the Community News. I'm Claire Halliday. Melton traders are showing strong support for a special levy where they each pay a levy of $350. The levy, expected to raise a total of $100,000, will be used to hire a promotions manager and help revitalise the centre. Owners of resort-style townhouses planned for the new Capital Golf Course will be unable to object to aircraft noise from nearby Moorabbin Airport. Developer Hudson Conway is planning to build more than 300 of the golf lodges based on similar developments at Port Douglas and Sanctuary Cove. Fitzroy residents are threatening to occupy the Batman College of TAFE in North Fitzroy if a state government proposal to sell the site goes ahead. Other inner Melbourne sites planned for sale include those at Brunswick and North Melbourne. And more than half of local residents want the Essendon Airport to remain open, says the Moonee Valley Gazette newspaper. They are concerned about the large number of jobs that would be lost. That's all for now. Back to you, Bruce.
Thank you to Claire Halliday for the Community News, and a good segment too. And that's it for another night in our city. It's Monday, March the, what date, Ash? March the 17th. Thank you. This was the day that country singer Charlie Pride was born in 1939, and the day when Australian electronics whiz Dick Smith, who became the first man to reach the North Pole by helicopter, was born in 1944, same age as me. That's it for Mansfields Melbourne for tonight. Good night to you. See you tomorrow night at 6. Mansfields Melbourne is brought to you by Hudson Bond Real Estate. Building for your future and assuring you of personal attention at all times.